What's going on, Juneteenth family?
I have to take the lead because if I don't now, when will I do it?
These are all hands groups mixes from since 90.
And risks are important. Risk creates results.
Make sure that you surround yourself with not only the word, but with positivity.
Foremost for having me on for lunch and learn.
We start off by wearing all of the hats. Pun intended right there. All the hats.
But we start special needs children and civilians. I have over 30 years plus experience as a quality professional.
We basically reconstructed what we took part in deconstruct all the street maintenance. That's how we came up with street maintenance.
I almost had to deal with MCA Records at the age of 19.
Wait I also partner with other daycares. We're not in a competition yet. We're not in a competition.
What's going on, Juneteenth family? Another edition of the Lunch and Learn. I am your host, Kiara, aka MBG. I'm happy to be here with you today. I hope you happy to be here with me. As always, we got the guests. We got some amazing information. And this episode today is going to be a part 2 to one that we've had before. I am talking about Mr. Wacinque, Amistad, Kaizen, BeMende. He is amazing. He's a visionary in financial education. He's developed innovative and like so many different products and ways for us to learn about this generational wealth, learn about like finances, products like the GPIA-DIV, the GPIA-DIV Saver to combat multi-generational poverty. Okay, so his dedication and just really commitment to this financial education and exclusion is empowering, and he's just trying to bring our individuals, all of our individuals, up to this same level. Can we bring Mr. Wacinque up to the stage today?
What is going on? I'm so glad to be back.
Yes.
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful and glad to be back on your show. Lunch and Learn.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. So just for some that may have not been able to catch the first episode of us, give us a little bit of background of your story. How did we get here today? The things, all that you encompass. Just give us the spill, a little brief synopsis of who you are.
Yeah. Basically, it all started growing up poor and learning that we were poor. And the key event for me was I was at church, and some people I love very dearly were talking about being dead broke. Of course, I was eavesdropping on grown folk conversation. And I said, I didn't really know what that meant. But as I got older, I realized people need help building wealth.
Yes.
Better than, it's been 200 years since the passbook savings account was created. It's been 60 years since the government launched the war on poverty. And yet there's still too many people poor. I learned how to not be poor. I studied banking and finance and lifted myself and my family out of poverty. And I'm looking around saying, well, wait a minute, how come everybody else is not being lifted? And so that's what drove me to create Kaizen Rhino Solutions and these products, GPIA-DIV, the GPIA Saver, that help you actually do it. This is not talking about it. This is what steps you need to actually take and how Kaizen Rhino will help you. Because as we know, one of the hurdles is the seed money. Obviously, you need extra money to build wealth. Ain't it interesting? Well, we can help you with that. So this is a real dynamic process, and I can't wait to get into it.
Listen, let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. So, talking about building wealth, just the understanding and the level of knowledge that comes with that. Because if you don't know, you don't know, and so many of us come from backgrounds or communities and of just that being a generational thing of us not understanding the dollar, right? Not understanding how to build wealth, not understanding how to save money, not understanding how to invest. So where does that start, and how do we dive into really grasping an understanding of what that is from the very start?
Well, I'm going to take you back to the classroom of fire. The fire triangle. 3 elements it takes to produce the fire. Well, it's the same thing here. So what it begins with is the mindset. So one of the elements for this financial fire, and that's what I'm going to share with you, is what that step is. So even though money is a part of it, the critical piece initially is your mindset. Then the second step is knowing the science and the math. And trust me, I will help you with that. And it's not like it's all you got to be a data scientist. No, once I share with you, you will be easy. It will be easy for you to share with others. Here is the real truth, the math and the science that's 500 years old in terms of how proven it is. And then last, the actual tool, in essence, the horse you ride. So we're gonna show you what horse you need to hop on to finish this out. And it is military grade secure. It's online. I don't care what nobody else tell you. When I send it to you, you are going to know directly. It ain't going to be what Wacinque said. You're going to see it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have anybody looking over your shoulder into, like, you don't send me your data and I upload it. No, I send you to the site itself and you upload your information. And nobody, I know people, have a concern with the other side of the government or these products and stuff, but trust me, the Russians and the Chinese don't mess with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how tight it is. Putin and the Chinese emperor, they do not mess with it. So anyway, so that's the three elements is your mindset, knowing science and the math, and the actual tool. You're going to get all that here.
Got it. So let's unpack today. Let's jump into it. I know that, and I'm not sure that we jumped into this in our last session, but am I saying it correctly? Did you say the GPA, or is it the GPIA?
GPIA, like
GPIA.
GPIA, GPIA.
Okay. Break that down to us. What is that? What is the GPIA-DIV? What is the GPIA-DIV saver?
Well, yeah. Think of it this way. What I have put on the table is the third and fourth elements. These elements, when I say the table, I'm talking about that periodic table, that scientific table.
Mm-hmm.
The geniuses of our people, we're adding 2 elements to the table that are financial. Mm-hmm. And one is the global permanent investment account, dividends, is the atom of the wealth building. In essence, you need the right tool design to achieve it. And what that atom is composed of, the elements that compose the atom, the neutrons and all that, is simply a savings model and dividend stocks. That's why it's so powerful. The greatest wealth creator in the history of man is dividend stocks. So that means if people don't own dividend stocks, they are not participating. I know people gonna say, well, housing and all that, and there are other things, but at the core is your financial account. because how are you going to get the loans? How are you going to qualify and show that if you don't show that you have a foundation, a credible financial foundation to buy houses or get loans and all of that? So the Global Permanent Investment Account is the atom. And that's the third element, the first financial element. The second financial element is time. Einstein proved that time is the gatekeeper in all of the universe. The time value of money is important because the earlier you start, the less money you need to be wealthy. So those two elements working side by side in conjunction with each other, supporting each other is it. Meaning, if in your financial learning journey, if you have not been told how critical that is, then you have not been given the proper information. You must have a vehicle that'll stand the test of time, and time, meaning people gotta the process of learning has to emphasize, put time in your favor. Now, earlier when I was testing, bringing my slides up, I clicked on it and it worked. And of course now it's like, why aren't the slides coming up? Okay, there it is. All right. Can everybody see the slide?
Yes, we got it.
Okay. Now, does anybody know who Harriet and Frederick is?
Harriet as in Miss Tubman.
Hello.
And Frederick as Mr. Douglas.
Hello. Harriet and Frederick. So in getting your mindset right, you need, how they have the image with the little thing on your shoulder, one on the left, one on the right. Well, that on your shoulder is Harriet and Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
And what, everybody know what Harriet is about. Harriet is about, we need to get off the wrong financial plantation. We need to be free financially, and we need to do whatever it takes. If we got to have a brick, a gun, symbolically, to get us into the right mindset, we need Harriet.
Right.
We need Harriet. And I'm channeling Harriet. And then Frederick is all of the putting laws in place. He's reminding whoever the leaders are supposed to be, so-called leaders, he's putting them all in place. And we want to remind people always that the financial vehicle during Juneteenth was the Freedmen's Bank. The Freedmen's Bank was the vehicle for wealth building that we had in place. And we were very successful. The Freedmen's Bank was from 1864 to 1874. So we're talking about newly emancipated people was buying land, and there was $50 million in the 1870s in that bank.
Wow.
$50 million. That is estimated to be just under 100 billion today in real money. Now, the record of the accounts is accessible, meaning you can look up to see if anyone in your family had an account. So my company did a project with the University of Michigan and their PhD financial students in their big data center. So the question on the table was, there were 70,000 accounts in 1874 and approximately $1,000 per account with the 50 million. If they were using the model that I teach people about, owning dividend paying stocks, not a made up number, we're talking the real numbers that have been a part of the financial system of the US including the Dow that started in 1896 and the previous. So put it this way, the first dividend stocks were established in the 1600s. In the 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 1700s, it was well established. So the University of Michigan, financial students, they crunched the data, and each person would have $287 million today if they were using the model. The model is, so again, this is the science and the math. So the model was also evaluated by Credit Suisse Bank. They did a 100-year study from 1900 to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers were confirmed again. I'm talking about owning dividend paying stocks. Confirmed again. $1 in 1900 grew, that same $1 grew to over 40,000 by 2000. That same, so the Credit Suisse Bank, after the 2000, they published an annual update. They updated every year. Today, it's over 100-something plus thousand.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm sharing with you is this is factual data. So if you're dealing with people that are not telling you these facts, not showing you, connecting you with the document you can read yourself, the annual report that's published, the book is called Triumph of the Optimist.
Triumph.
And the reason why they titled it, because in 1900, no one had a crystal ball. They didn't know what the future would be per se, but they were around people that knew the history since 1600 when the first dividend paying stock company was created, and they knew the record of the performance. So that's how the correctly informed people. So it becomes a challenge of who you should listen to.
Yeah.
And I'm challenging our listening audience to just not take my word for it. When you reach out to me, when you follow up, I will send you the links to this data. You can look at it directly yourself.
No, this is definitely mind blowing. Just to hear those numbers and to see how over time, that value has beyond, rocketed to such higher value. It's like, okay, if the knowledge was presented, so many people, more people could have had access to this and been in such a better predicament like today, families and
right. It's no, so this is why I do everything I can to try to get the information out, because as you know, the unfortunate part is that water is under the bridge. Is we really can't fix that, but we can ensure. So the mission of my company is to reduce to zero individuals excluded from the financial system. But another thing that I'm sharing with you, I'm talking about what regular people can do. So we all know that the Jay-Z's in the world, they ain't hurt. Athletes, actors, and all of those. They're people doing okay. What I'm talking about is the regular person who has a regular job, how they can be participating in this process. Regular people. And starting with myself, I shared that when I was young, I learned that we were poor and the people were talking about being dead broke. I studied banking and finance. Well, I don't mention it often because it's not important about me, but I am in that 1%. And if you look at, what job did he have? I was in the military. But because I knew about investing the correct way with the not with somebody telling me something and I'm losing money because no. And so I'm in the 1%. We're talking the 1%. And what people think about is the higher level of the 1%. But the 1% starts at $1 million in the US. And so I can definitely show regular people how to get there in the future, making sure that kids get there. And when I mentioned that we know people don't have the extra money, I'm partnering with philanthropic organization that support what this is called asset building. Okay. So there are philanthropic organizations that support helping people build assets, meaning we're going to use the same lingo used in a business where when you're launching a business, the commonly known expression is seed money. We're going to help people get the seed money to help them build their accounts. Mm-hmm. And the other element of Harriet and Frederick that comes into this, this is not the information that is being told in the general public. So there's a new book out that talks about how broke Black people are, that we only own 15 cents, on a dollar. And that's still today. But because I delve into the scholarly approach, there is a journal article that is titled The Wealth Gap from 1860 to 2020. So trust me when I say to you, nothing has been studied more than this wealth gap. But why aren't they bringing forth better solutions? That's why you got to have a Harriet Tubman in the mix. That's why you need Wacinque in the mix, because I'm going to tell you how to do it. Even if these other people, these scholars, they can't figure it out, they don't know how to fix it. It's fixable, and I can show you how to do it.
Let me just jump in real quick with sure. I have a few questions. Okay, so we mentioned the asset building, we mentioned, the seed money. How does the asset ownership, like the standard ownership or whatever that can start at, like the seed of owning assets, and gaining that, how does that tackle the multi-generational poverty, the economic independence? How do we, I know that you said, help get the seed money. Okay, we got the seed money. Now we want to invest in assets. So, okay, what's the next step to that? Now again, what are the assets that are most beneficial? How?
No, I understand. No, we help you with all of that. Good questions, excellent questions. And because we're at the launch of a movement, the reason why the asset ownership standard, now I know everybody's not going to be into the history, but I know this history. So what I'm saying to you is why it's called a standard, because George Washington, one of the first things that he emphasized is that the United States needs to put in place a process for standards. They established the Bureau of Standards. Thomas Jefferson. Listen, this is why we led the world. We're talking George Washington. This is before we became a nation. So when we first became a nation, we knew the value of putting in standards. So everything around you, why our buildings don't fall down, why our bridges don't fall down easily, unless they're run into by a big old full, basically a tank on the water.
Yeah.
But anyway, all these standards are critical. Well, guess what? There is no asset ownership standard, which tells you, wait a minute, with an asset ownership standard, you can help make sure easier people are not messed up. So just because they didn't do it, so we're telling the people now, I'm leading the effort to have that standard established. That standard then makes it easy for any politician. Everybody will be talking the same language. Everybody will be talking what the standard is. Now, the standard was the model we're using. Bloomberg, and I mentioned him before, the billionaire Bloomberg, his company, he has a financial information company, Bloomberg News. Well, they created a financial notational number system. It makes it very clear the answer to your question. So for instance, as we speak right now, there are over 3 billion people who do not have at least $1,000 in asset. We're talking 3 billion people. Yet there is enough wealth. The accessible wealth in the United States is over 160 trillion. And this is just helping people with the why and the big picture. Right. If you divide the whole population of the US into the 160 trillion, you get 480,000. So in our mission, if our goal is to help people get 50,000, then that's a doable goal. There is way more than enough wealth to give everybody over 400,000. Then clearly because in the 300 million people in the US, obviously not all of them are broke. So the few people that are broke, this is an easy process, easy in the vision and in the steps. But people gonna say, well, why haven't they done it before? You need a visionary leader. You need a visionary person who knows this information and can use the tools that make it easy to digest. And even uber rich people don't know as much about certain things. And this is what those process would look like. And all of it is step by step. So in this slide, I'm telling you the first step is your why. So that mindset. Then this next step is the actual organization on-ramp that we need to connect with. The reason why I chose the World Council of Credit Unions is it's a global organization. There are credit unions in every country in the world. So it's not like we have to create this. It already exists. So the idea is the more we make people aware, and then they'll know which ones to go to, it helps them realize that the process is not like pie in the sky. Plus, the other benefit is you can access it online. So we live in a world of Web3 and secure, what they call STOs, secure tokens. All of those things exist wherever you are in the world. You can actually go online and do this. So when you hear somebody say, well, there's some person in Africa on top of some mountain, I just smile when they say that, because they can be reached. And then, so another great tool is the savings tool, and that is through that's the US Treasury Direct I-bonds. Again, you can go to the website, US Treasury Direct I-bonds, you Google it, you put it in any kind of way, and that is where you begin your account building process. When individuals run into hiccups, this is where the assistants come in. Everyone has to forgive themselves for whatever was broken in the past. We're going to fix all of that. I'm retired military, served 40 years. Everybody knows the military expression, leave no one behind. This effort is to not leave anyone behind financially. And we know that hadn't been done before. This is the new train. This is the new financial train. Everybody just get on board. You don't need no ticket. You don't need no ticket. Just get on board. And then the heart and soul of it is the dividend stocks. So welcome to Computer Share. Computer Share is the transfer agent that you create your dividend stock account with. You can Google it, all this other stuff too. And all of these organizations have employees whose job is to help you, but we're here to help you also, when you run into hiccups or frustration. But in all of this, there are employees whose job is to help you. And I know people are not going to know the name ComputerShare, but they are a transfer agent. And once you start looking into this, you'll start realizing what I'm telling you is the real deal.
I remember you were sharing last time saying that basically everything was on ComputerShare right in front of your face. So everything that, you might go through with a third party, you can directly access on ComputerShare, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, you are absolutely. We're talking by law, meaning Congress already passed a law that says people have the regulatory authority to create their account with ComputerShare. Now, we have to forgive the process. We have to own it and say, hey, we understand they try to get you to go to these third parties that charge you extra fees, and that's less of your money working for you. Okay, we forgive that. But I'm Harriet Tubman. I'm showing you how to get off the plantation. So don't worry about what you didn't know in the past.
Yeah.
Don't get on board with Harriet and Frederick and the information that you can now know. And you'll start with your baby steps. It don't matter. You take it step by step. And keep in mind, when everyone wins, everyone benefits.
Yeah.
So this is not survival of the fittest. I don't believe in that. This is not scarcity, teaching people that, you got to fight over the crumbs. So what happens is, think about this, like you're a skinny person and you learn how to eat right and lift weights. See, God has already built into your muscle fibers, even though you're skinny to the rest of the world, he's already built something in there magical. You know this. You start lifting weights and eating right. Next thing you know, you looking at that person like, how the hell did they get like Arnold? You have to remember, because the ability is built in you. It is, God is in your fibers. So it's the same way with how this money works. You just needed to be with the right Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass telling you this information. And we have to forgive and let go of the people, that didn't know to tell you. They told you, I believe they told you what they think they knew. But once you start, I believe that the world says that the number one thing needed is financial literacy. I say the number one thing needed is financial experience. So you start with the account. Then that person is 1,000% more invested in whatever financial literacy they're going to get, because they have an actual account. They have an actual account. Now, once again, everybody knows I'm a super nerd, and I'm telling you, don't just believe what I'm telling you. So again, what I will direct people to, so that they know Wacinque is not making this up. The Treasury Department did a study with Eau Claire Bank in Wisconsin, and Happy State Bank in Texas, where the Treasury Department wanted to know, how critical is it for a kid to have an actual account versus all of these financial literacies, these simulations. The study showed, simulations is good. I'm not knocking simulations, but what it proved without a doubt, number one, is when those kids have their own account, the outcome difference is off the chain. And I know people are going to feel frustrated, because they're going to say, well, if they did that study, then how come? Well, this is how, we live in a world that sometimes ain't what it's supposed to be. So that study was put on the shelf.
Yeah.
And only high level academics know the real answer. Wow. they know the real facts that having an actual account is the game changer. And again, I'll send you guys the link to the study, all of this where, and you just have to let go of the anger you feel when you know you sometimes have been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
What you don't know, Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And that's, in essence, it's the right knowledge. Because once you have the right knowledge, you're indestructible.
That's a fact. That is definitely a fact. And we're speaking the right knowledge, and I know you've helped so many people at this point. What are some of the success stories? What are some of the success stories from some of the clients or people who work with you that benefited from all of this information from your program, from Kaizen Solutions? Like, what are some of the, or one that you can think of?
No, listen, this is too easy. That's a great question. It's too easy. So I mentioned I'm retired military. So I served from 1975 to 2016. During that period, 401ks got created for civilians. So used to be, there was classic pension programs, but 401ks is the investing in stocks program. Now, unfortunately, people are hurt if they don't work for a company that offers 401ks. Well, the military said, wait a minute, let's look at what's happening with civilians. When I say civilians, I'm talking about federal civil service employees. Their program started in 1988. I started as a federal civilian employee in 1985. So even though I was in the military, I was also a civil service employee. So again, and then I learned this when I studied banking and finance in the 70s. So every time these programs came on board, I already had the internal knowledge. I didn't have to ask anybody else what I should do.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the program started, all of the funds were $10. And that makes sense because that's known as par. That's the only way you can compare it. So I share with everybody, the dividend stock fund. The number one dividend stock fund was the C fund. They were all $10. If you put $10 in that seed fund, you would have $1 million today. If you go online and look at TSP Data Center and look at where the seed fund is, and you can even dial up the history to look at where it was from the beginning. I'm saying all this because I'm begging people. Don't ever say only that Wacinque told you this. I'm telling you how to look at the information yourself. Now I know it's a lot of information, but remember, Rome was built in a day. You don't have to like have all this information on top of your head, because we're starting a journey and we're with you through the journey like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. Now, what I would also tell you is, remember Harriet said she could have freed more people and that she had to use her gun sometime? Well, it was the same, because you can imagine people looking at me like I'm in the military like them. How come I know all of this? Blah, blah, blah. And so everybody didn't act on it. But I can tell you the people that acted on it. And another way you can look it up is you can look up federal, like TSP millionaires. You can look up, there are studies that show how many federal employees are millionaires, because they were using this, and they're not going to go around telling everybody.
Yeah.
But you asked me for the success stories. This is real numbers, real data, real success stories happening while we speak and sleep. But on the flip side, what about the people that did not listen? Remember, it started at $10 the same. That account is there's two accounts that are in this category, the G fund and the F fund. Those accounts went from $10 to $18 and $10 and $19. That means In this whole same period of time where other people were becoming millionaires, those individuals have 180,000. Now, you could say, well, 180,000 is good, and it is. But how are you going to compare that to $1 million? Over the same period of time of life, and you put in the same amount of money. That's why this stuff is critical. Because, somebody done pulled it up. Go back to the top. Go back, go down. Keep going down. No, keep coming down. Go the other way. Go the other way. Keep going the other way. Keep going. See to the right where it says C fund and what that amount is. Yeah, just under $90. So anyway, and it's right there. And then when you saw the other verbiage, it's talking about what I'm talking about. The number of millionaires, all of that information is in TSP data center. Wow. You don't need any kind of ID. Now, the real managed account is you do. That's a government site. You can't just access it. But as you know how we are in America, we feel like, hey, public information. So somebody else created TSP data center so that people can see the information for themselves. If they hear some federal employee bragging about how rich they are, and they're saying, no, you can't be that rich. You're a federal employee. Then they can look it up and go, holy shit, yeah, you can be rich. We don't like to say that. We don't say you get a job, get a federal job to be rich. But unfortunately, today, the tools to help you get there exist.
Yeah.
They exist. But you still have to hear the right information. Because sometimes if you talk to the wrong people, they're going to tell you put your money in the G fund, and all these years later, you'll have 180,000, or the F fund, you'll have 190. When your fellow worker had theirs in the equity fund, the dividend stock fund, and they're $1 million. So that's, that's how dynamic this exists. And why do you need, and you would ask yourself, why isn't there more people like me telling this story? Well, I mean, I can't explain why people know things and they don't want to share it or, but always understand, maybe people don't understand things like you think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you got to listen to other people, because, and there's a very famous organizational psychologist, Dr. Gary Klein. His book is about how seeing what others don't. So I am his example of a person that there are other people, financial people, all kinds, but they don't see what I see. And he wrote a book about seeing what others don't. It's like being Michael Jordan. Look at how many people play basketball. But you could argue Michael Jordan and LeBron James, it's like, really? We're talking all those millions of people playing the game. So some people just have game that's off the chart. Well, I'm that equivalent with financial education. Now, so I titled this, How Wealth Grows While You Sleep. The engines of the wealth growing is compound interest. When you put your money in there, when the marketplace, when people are buying, Walmart and all this, and the company is going up in value, when you own the share, you participate in that growth, and you ain't done nothing. You haven't added no money. You haven't done anything. You are benefiting from compound interest. Now, before I created Financial Infinity Days, there was not really a special day to highlight compound interest so that regular people can say, well, I know, I understand it. We did for Pi Day, 3.14, March the 14th, but not for the wealth building engine. And sometimes when people see this, man, they're like, what, AP1, they're like, what the, all A means is add money. What are you adding the money to? The money you already have in there. That's the P. So let's say you got $100 in there and you add 25. So A is 25 and the P is 100. So now when it goes inside the brackets where the 1 is, that's the 125. So it's 1 times whatever comes in. So it becomes the same number. You add the 2 numbers, it comes inside, and it's 125. The 25 plus the previous 100. Then the R in the end, that's that new added money, the rate you will earn. So let's say it's 1%. So now, and then if it's 1%, and then the N stands for how many times this is added. So let's say this is like every 30 days. So now you have $1.25 added every 30 days. At the end of the year, that total is added to the 125. And then it goes outside the bracket to the NT. The NT is simply how many years you've been doing this. So if you are a baby and your parents set this up for you, then your time value of money is maximized. Because when you're 10 years old, you've been doing this for 10 years. When you're 20 years old, you see what I'm getting at? And you have been growing all of that value while you sleep and so forth over that period of time. That's all this formula means. But I guarantee you, I talk to people about this all the time, and they don't have this comfort level. But once I explain it to them, then they have it. They're like, man, A, add money. P, whatever my money was before, move it inside. That total is what the dividend payment is. Then when you move outside the NT, remember we own dividend stocks, and I said that if Walmart is going up in value, that's capital gain. So now you have capital gain added to this money that's growing while you sleep. You had nothing to do with it. You didn't work at that job. The capital gain is why the Dow is 40,000 today, when in 1896 it was $1. So, and that wealth is that's why the gap grows, because obviously wealthy people own dividend paying stocks, and that means their wealth just keep growing. But like I said to you, it ain't outrunning me, because I am participating. My money grows while I sleep. It's maximized. And so I'm a regular person. I was in the military. It's knowledge that everybody can have. I tried to be Michael Jackson. You don't want to hear me sing. I tried to be Michael Jordan. You don't want to see me play basketball. I tried to be Mike Tyson. I got knocked out by a girl. So I didn't have any of those special.
You did what was right for you.
But this knowledge I'm sharing with you, everybody can have this knowledge. That's the beauty. It's not special knowledge. It's the right knowledge. And basically, after you have the knowledge, it's called rinse and repeat. All you're doing is rinsing and repeating. And I can get into some other sophisticated, but remember, we're focused on helping everybody get the foundation in place. So the goal of helping everybody get the foundation in place is how you share the word. How do you share this information? And remember, don't believe the lie that, if you share it with somebody else, it's going to dilute your money. They'll use that term. Listen, it's building those muscles. You cannot dilute it. You cannot do it. Because another way of thinking about it is, you add your $1,000 and the market is already like at 40 trillion. Even if everybody is at, you see what I'm getting at. The system is too big. It can absorb whatever you add. It can absolutely absorb whatever you add. And there are people going to argue about it, but there are scientific studies, mathematical studies, in the modern era, like called MMT. Whereas in the past, they used to focus on Keynesian, John Maynard Keynes. But keep in mind, Keynes was developing his mathematical theories before the internet, before these tools. So, of course, his model is limited, but educated people created MMT, modern mathematical models for today that incorporate that. And that's how we know, no, that's why you, like, everybody's trying to say, oh, there's going to be a recession. See, it's fool's gold. They're trying to scare other people. But now, you know, Harriet and Frederick, tell them you ain't scared no more. And so this petition that helps get the word out, change it, chng.it/KQCZ. You see it. Go to that, and that's your vote. It's a free vote. You can help stop the cycle of poverty. If you Google, you can help stop the cycle of poverty and put in Laker Lutz news, then you get the article that was written where I tell this story, you know, again, so people can have a source to say, I'm not just listening to Wacinque. This has been recorded, and it has the information there. Then the hidden gems, meet Wacinque at Voyage, MIA magazine. All you have to do is put in Miami in the search. Put in Miami and Wacinque. See, I benefit from being the only person with my name. So you don't have to put my whole name. You just put Miami and Wacinque. And it's going to pull up that article. And this article tells where I tell the whole story of, you know, being at church and all of that. So, and these are not like, I don't need you to read my memoir, you know, my 4,000 page memoir to catch up. No, these are 2 short news articles, and you can say, okay, I'm good. I may not still believe him, but I'm going to take those steps. I'm going to take those initial steps, create an account, and start making him prove this data he's giving me, triumph of the optimist, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's my story. And
I want to ask you before we get out of here, because
absolutely
so much to I hope you guys have been taking notes. I got my note card right here. I've been taking some notes. I want to ask you about your experience at the Juneteenth festival. I had a chance to see you out there. How was your experience at the Black Kings?
I mean, you saw me. How tall did I look when you saw me?
Like you was up there.
Hello. Okay. I was floating. You understand? Because guess what? What did y'all do for me? Y'all showed me black man love. Appointed me an economic king of New York. Nothing but love. Now, that's me and my fellow brothers, but I felt it directly. When people looked at me, I felt seen and loved. And then the parade process, that was too much joy. And then, of course, I got to give my presentation about the real backstory of Juneteenth. So when I shared with you that 25th Corps, that African-American military unit, that was the unit that was ordered to Texas, and how we got Juneteenth. Because when Lee surrendered, it was in Appomattox, Virginia. Appomattox, Virginia is on the river. The supplies for Grant's headquarters, General Grant, the commanding general opposite of Lee, who won it, the ships left there and went to Texas, and they stopped in Galveston because of a storm. See, so the 3 holy places that I declare right now that every African American needs to go is, number 1, Galveston. The church that they talked about, that's Reedy Chapel Church. It is still right there in Galveston, Texas. How can all people who love Juneteenth not go there and with their own eyes see? This is like Mecca. This is like the Wailing Wall. Whatever else anybody says is valuable as a cultural icon.
Yes.
Reedy Chapel AME Church in Galveston, Texas for Juneteenth. That's us. So, and number 2 is actually going to City Point, Virginia, where we took off. The ship that carried those 20,000 black soldiers, battle hardened, just won the war, black soldiers left from City Point, Virginia. You can stand in the spot. You can stand in the spot. And last but not least, the first international Juneteenth celebration is Nicimas, Mexico, because blacks and Seminole Indians who were still right before Juneteenth was named, they left the United States to be free in Mexico. In the town that they settled in initially, they started a Juneteenth celebration in 1866, just like the rest of us did. So look up Juneteenth in Mexico. Those are the 3 holy places. How come everybody don't know this, quote unquote? Well, we know the battles we have with information. We know the battles we have.
Yes.
So when you get somebody like Wacinque who knows this stuff like the back of his hand,
right?
Then it's like, and again, I'm not telling you, believe me, because I'm saying it.
Go see it yourself.
See it yourself. See it yourself. And
listen,
so that's yeah.
We always appreciate it. You always come with the knowledge. You always drop the facts, and give us the resources to go see it ourselves. And I appreciate that. I often just kind of sit back and be quiet just to absorb everything that you give, and so I know that I'm taking it in. I'm not just hearing you, but I'm listening, and I'm taking notes, and I'm jotting things down. So absolutely, we always welcome you. We always appreciate the knowledge and the hand that you're extending to share and to get everybody on board, because we don't win until we all win, just like you said. So I know that's crucial, and we got to just continue at it. It's
and the last thing I want to say in that line is, did I pop up a Venmo? Did I pop up Cash App? See, like Janet Jackson said, some things of value are free. Don't believe when people tell you that somebody got to charge you. I don't get my value out of taking money out of your pocket. I have my own money because I use my own knowledge. So, and I'm not knocking people that charge and say, that they offer valuable service. I'm saying there is another, like any kind of coin. One side of the coin, I don't, that's okay to do that. And, people need to do that. But I'm also showing you the other coin. There is absolute value in something that's free. I will never be in your pocket.
Listen, tell the people where they can connect with you, where they could build all of that. Share information, please.
Everything Wacinque. You put in like Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. All you have to do is put in Wacinque. LinkedIn, all of that. Then even with my company is the only company named Kaizen Rhino. So if you put in Kaizen Rhino, you see what I'm saying? I'm like Harriet. I'm out in I'm out in public. Like they try to take her out. She used a little disguises. That's okay. But I'm findable. Please don't hesitate. I live to help people get financially free. You hear me?
Yes.
I live to help people get financially free.
Come on, let's get on board, people. Let's get on board. Tap in. And just real quick before we get out of here, talking about getting on board, we have an opening for our Juneteenth board, our Juneteenth NYC 2025 board members. If you are interested in any of the current roles, we have volunteer support, co-lead and community partners, co-lead for the kids zone, event production support, vendor lead, sponsorship lead, fashion show support, safety and hygiene support. If you are interested in any of those positions, any of those roles, please tap in with us. You can scan the QR code. You can apply now. You can go to our website, JuneteenthNY.com. I am part of the board. It is an amazing board. We do some phenomenal things, and I'm telling you, you haven't experienced a board like this. So if you're interested in the community, you want to extend, you experience our Juneteenth festival, and you want to be a part of it, please reach out, okay? And talking about the board, what we're working on next is our back to school event. So make sure you join us August 24th. That will be from 12 to 4 p.m. And it's going to be at the Armory at 1561 Bedford Avenue. Again, scan the QR code. Partnerships are amazing. We're going to have live music, family fun, games, sports, foods, giveaways, everything to get the kids right for back to school. So make sure, again, you tap in with that and you scan and register on the Eventbrite. And be a sponsor. If you be a sponsor, you donate $50. That's 2 backpacks for 2 kids. So come on, tap in, help out. Let's show love, spread love the Brooklyn way. That's what we do. As we wrap up today, Mr. Wacinque, like I said, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for just your knowledge. Thank you for supporting our platform. We will continue to support you. And yeah, until next time, we got to get up out of here. But another amazing lunch and learn. Make sure you follow me on everything at Forever MBG, forevermbg.com. Make sure you check out that website, I Had a Praying Grandmother. Follow us on social media at I Had a Praying Grandmother, everything. And that's my time until next week. Make sure you tune in. Another great episode. Thank you again. And we'll see y'all soon. What's going on, Juneteenth family?
I have to take the lead because if I don't now, when will I do it?
These are all hands groups, mixes from since 90.
And risks are important. Risk creates results.
Make sure that you surround yourself with not only the word, but with positivity.
Foremost, for having me on for lunch and learn.
We start off by wearing all of the hats. Pun intended right there. All the hats.
But we start special needs children and civilians. I have over 30 years plus experience as a quality professional.
We basically reconstructing what we took part in deconstruct. All the street maintenance. That's how we came up with street maintenance.
I almost had to deal with MCA Records at the age of 19.
Wait a
I also partner with other daycares. We're not in a competition yet. We're not in a competition.